Hi. So for my reflection this week, which is on physical action, something that I really appreciated was Flow, where they had the option of changing the fonts and changing sort of the type of text that is used for content. And the reason why I appreciated that was because it was such a simple and small thing, but for me at least, as a visual learner, it made the whole text more engaging. And so, thinking about that and reflecting about it, I wanted to try out what it would mean to make that into a real life context or with more physical objects in a classroom. So, I decided to try to make different ways of engaging with the learning of time with this idea of changing the text around as the theme. And so I made four different types of four different representations of teaching time with the idea of making it accessible for different types of learners. So, number one is this one right here. So, this is a graph that attempts to map out the progression of time. Forgive me if it's not accurate, I just wanted to use it as a prototype. But basically, this is for learners who really appreciate graphic information, but they like it summarized and they like it in a really scientific manner. And then there's this one, which is basically just, it's 3 o'clock. It uses numbers and it's made very big on purpose for students who might have visual impairment and they can't really see very well. Then there is this one. So this one I made it using pastel crayons, so you can actually trace it and feel it, right? And I made it so that it's visually engaging for students who are stimulated by colors and who are engaged by things that are energetic and bright, and they're able to kind of take it in visually. And then lastly, I made this clock. It's kind of falling apart, but you can change the hour and the minute here, so students who might have trouble with vision, they can feel the hour hand and the minute hand. There's also these, so the 12, 3, 6, and 9. These have little paper clips as indents, so they're able to feel the major changes in the clock. Oh, this one fell off. And then for the smaller indents, which is for example, the 1 and the 2 here, you have these cutouts. So they're able to really feel and engage with this clock in a very sensory manner. And whereas this one, they're able to engage in it in a very visual manner. I think this one kind of summarizes the information and minimalizes it. And then this one gives you the information in a graph, which could be familiar, and it can also be very informative. And so, these are four different ways of being able to represent time and being able to show time in a classroom. And I think that what I learned from this is that even though universal design sometimes feels like it's very hard to execute, one of the things I thought about when I was looking at the website was just that, at least technology-wise, it seems like it would maybe require a lot of effort to be able to build prototypes where you're building atoms on like computer stimulation. But I think taking it down a notch and also seeing the details, such as being able to change things just like the font, makes it so that it's more accessible for teachers to be able to implement it into the classroom. So, teachers might not have the capability of being able to build a computer module that allows them to stimulate different forms of time. But with everyday materials that can be found in the classroom, maybe they can make different representations of time that is more physically accessible for students. Number one would just be, using the indents and making sure that students who don't have great vision are able to touch and feel, or that you can make it so that it's very large. You can make it so that it's visually engaging, and just thinking about different ways of representing the same thing, and then applying that to also the impairments that students might have in understanding and in taking in because of their eyes or because of the way they learn. And so I think this project was really fun, and I certainly would appreciate it if I were to be able to have different modes of taking in information in classrooms accessible to me right now. And so I hope that it gets implemented in schools.